Welcome back to Seen It Before, where we're probably going to say something stupid about your favorite movie because we've seen it all before. I'm Danny.
I'm Dan, and welcome to our season finale of Seen It Before, season 5.
It is season 5.
It's the end of season 5. There's one thing I want to talk about before we get into all this, though, is two words. White balance.
Just okay. Listen, I got a new camera. That's what we're on right now. I
had to bring it up. I had to.
Oh.
I told you I was going to pun with this.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. So, Dungeons & Dragons. Not the game, the movie. The fourth movie, actually. Fourth Dungeons & Dragons movie, technically, that they've ever made.
What?
Yes. Yeah, this is the fourth. It's not a sequel or anything.
It's not, well, yeah, obviously, but it's like, is it official? Like all the other 3 other ones are official Dungeons and Dragons movies.
They're all tied somewhere to some sort of source book or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, they're all.
What are the other ones then? Have you heard of them?
Probably not.
I know one of them's animated from back in the day.
One came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway.
We got a guest.
We got a guest. That's Pat. Pat, by the way. He's been on.
I'm back.
Is the last time you were here for Duel the Debates?
Probably,
Yes.
yeah.
And then the one before that, the official, like, Seen It Before was Lord of the Rings, right?
Yes.
Which we still got to follow. Like, we did the first one. We haven't done the second or third one.
James just watched the entire trilogy extended cuts this weekend.
Again, like, he did it, like,
all
months ago, too.
all the extended cuts, though, this time.
I mean, I've been planning on doing a full weekend. Like taking time off of work.
Wow.
And like
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all of them.
You're nuts.
Yeah.
That
Anyway.
includes The Hobbit.
Oh, God.
What's your thoughts on the Rings of Power? You don't like it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, it's just because I've been trying to catch up actually on D&D.
Okay.
D&D podcasts.
Nice.
Yes.
When you can watch the longest running animated series and the longest running anime series
Makes sense.
twice,
Yeah.
back to back, and still not catch up.
All right, well, let's get into the movie now, guys. So, let's get right to it.
So, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, directed by John Francis Daly and somebody else. I'm sorry, I forgot your
Jonathan
name.
Goldstein? Because I know he wrote it.
Okay, it might be him. Yeah.
Yes,
They're the team behind Game Night, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Game Night and Homecoming. Jonathan Goldstein wrote Homecoming. I think they both wrote Homecoming, actually.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I can definitely feel the vibes.
Yeah. And I liked it because it was just nice little like, all right, I'm already familiar with how this movie feels.
Yeah.
Sitting down for the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a style. They've come into that now, and it's kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's just fun.
It's like, I think it's probably like the best balance of like quirky and random, but like still kind of on point. Like we've seen a lot of like it's like 2012 humor. Like, oh, I'm so random. I eat Doritos and I wear Galaxy leggings. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
But it's also like calming and like feels like home. Like,
Yeah. It's like you're just vibing. You're just here having a good time.
Yeah. It feels like the old school, your childhood movie
Yeah.
feel, even though it came out, yesterday.
I've missed this kind of like vibe of movies a lot, you know? Like, but that's the whole thing, because like comedy, this isn't exactly a straight up comedy. This is a comedy action adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like Game Night was a cool kind of callback to like comedies of like 2008 to like 2014. Now that's kind of dead now. We don't see too many like actual comedy movies anymore.
Yeah, unless they're like Adam Sandler, which, well.
And those are just on Netflix and they're forgotten about.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Somebody
Adam
was
Sandler's
saying how they watched Grown Ups 2 again recently at work today, and it was just like bad.
Yeah, that was not
Real
good.
bad.
But
But
the first one's okay.
At least they were all having fun making. Like, they were a bunch of friends, and they just decided to make a movie.
yeah.
That's what that was all about. But
It was Adam Sandler, Chris Rock did like week of.
yeah,
Unless you have experienced a Long Island wedding, you're not gonna care about that movie at all.
yeah. All right, guys.
I didn't know they had a certain for Long Island weddings.
Well, it was very much just like that's the whole thing. That's what it was based on. Just where Chris Rock and like Adam Sandler like grew up and stuff.
Ah, okay.
So we start off in a prison. So the main character, Edgin, he's a bard, as
Yes.
you've mentioned to me. Him and what's Michelle Rodriguez's character, Holga. They're kind of just there, and then They escape. They escape, man.
Well, you know, think of the whole babackstory of how they got there.
It's not really okay. Yeah.
Well,
the
it's
whole
like they
backstory.
tease it because like I didn't realize that like I totally knew what's
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. I want to say
No. We had a whole
Hugh Greer.
We had a whole Hugh story. Like me and my wife were discussing. Like, okay, this was Hugh Grant, not Hugh Laurie, not Hugh
Not Hugh
Jackman, Hugh Grant.
Yeah. So
yeah, I totally knew he was going to be a bad guy when he's like, "I'll take care of her." I'm like, slimy British guy, villain.
yeah. So basically, Edgin's wife is killed by these witches, wizards. I don't know what they wear.
red
Red.
wizards.
They wear red.
They were a studied necromantic sort of type of class. Because one thing I did get very obsessed about was I got very obsessed with like the nitty gritty of like how this would work in an actual tabletop. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we're sitting here with a bard, a barbarian, like in a prison. That's a dangerous combo. And then you have your type of like swashbuckler rogue, someone who's a little more like a little more mouth than they are action.
Right.
Being a big villain, which is kind of cool with a very studied, not really.
It's just like an in-depth kind of thing. Yeah.
And then like all the red wizards were very much like the
red wizards.
Yeah. They were all very like in a necromantic area. So it was like, all right, cool. There's some cool stuff you can do as a necromantic wizard because
well, like they
their spells are just fun.
with the bubble thing.
Yeah,
where
time stop.
Is that? I assume that's a spell.
Yeah, Dudamancy is a very new.
So they're doing new stuff.
It's a very new spell type because traditionally there's 7 types, and then time became a new 8th type in one of the editions. A little more recently.
They do a lot of stuff with time in this one, actually.
Yeah, they do that, and then there's the spell the red wizard puts down in the past that makes them all zombies, basically.
Yeah, and that was just special to the
character
because that's just something you can just make up.
Do we know who played like the original Red Wizard guy that shows up like it's in the flashback scene, and then he's like kind of like in the shadows? Because it looked like Bill Nighy to me. And because I was getting like Underworld flashbacks.
I'm on the cast list.
It very much could have been inspired by that.
That'd be so cool.
Now that you say
I'm not
that,
seeing him, so
Yeah, it's probably
you could
nobody.
Put in like a random actor that they were just like, oh, you just nailed it. We're just gonna CG you in. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so like you see like Chris Pine's, what's his name? Edgin?
Yep.
well, that's the thing is it's yet again a nice little D&D trope is you get this super complicated name that you just shorten down to something normal.
Okay.
He gets called Ed so many times in that movie. And that's all that I had.
I missed his whole name like the entire movie.
Yeah,
I just like, it's Chris Pine.
There's so much else going on too. Those little things you don't need to pay attention to. You're more invested in the story, and you were more invested in what the hell their class was and everything. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Isn't he casting any spells? Bards are spellcasters.
So-
I don't know if he's just talking.
What class is Holga?
Barbarian or
barbarian.
fighter.
Okay, and she's human. Like human's a race, right?
Yeah.
I barely play D&D.
yes, she's a human. So let's go through the classes
'cause
for the characters.
I was looking at human bard, human barbarian fighter. We got a half elf sorcerer,
Lots of half elves.
Yeah.
tiefling druid, which was really cool because it's just a fun little combo.
Is that Justice Smith's character?
Redhead, little.
Oh no, that was what's her face?
Sophia Lillis.
Sophia Lillis, yeah.
Yes.
I got those two mixed up. All right, yeah.
Yeah, then I think we had. Then it was like a paladin type character.
Who's Hugh Grant?
That's what I was saying. Like more of the swashbuckler rogue. Like very much.
Okay.
He's gonna because he was trying to underhand everybody. So like he's very much sneaking around. You're not seeing what he's actually doing.
Is he just blaming it on his race? It's like, sorry, I'm the villain.
That's just his class. Like, that's what I do. I steal stuff.
Yeah. But I like the whole backstory where you get like how they ended up in the prison, where he's like, I got screwed over. But he blames himself, which is
He's like really
very
waiting for this
main
guy.
character.
He's going out of the story. He's like, is this guy coming?
Is Jonathan coming?
I really need him.
I like he's like in the middle of the story. So it's like he's like I remember they're going over the mountains or something. It's like, Jonathan would really appreciate this.
Jonathan.
It's just like, just backtrack a little bit and start again. Okay, yeah. Too far. You too far. You went too far back.
And
So they're just they're not like anybody, like that board of people. They're just kind of like they're the prison people.
Yeah, it's just like prison wardens of sorts. But the thing is like that very much start of the movie felt, after like playing a few sessions, like what you kind of do is you, like the DM will kind of introduce the area and then have someone like kind of give a general gist of their backstory, and having Chris Pine do all of that is like, cool. He was just told to read his backstory, and now he's just info dumping his backstory. And then they just went, cool. Let's actually make some dice rolls, because like we can't have everybody do this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
They escape.
yeah,
obviously.
Jonathan comes in and they tackle him out the window.
Which is
Wait, you're free though.
I love that bit.
Oh my god. But yeah, then they cross mountains and get over to find his daughter with Hugh Grant's character, Forge.
Forge.
Yeah, Forge. So she gets there. She's pissed, obviously. Right.
Was like, you left
He's been
me.
gone for 2 years.
The fuck, Dad?
I mean, especially like in prison.
Yeah. Yeah, and then because he's
Out of
only looking
nowhere.
out for himself at the beginning of the movie, it's just it's how he is.
But I love that. Well, we'll get to it later. But he says, he comes to a realization. But he's talking to the Red Wizard. But he's like, yeah, I wanted my wife back, not your mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. A cool way of putting it.
Yes. Yeah, so then Hugh Grant's a dick. That's the main point of his whole
Like,
character.
The actor looks just like a general jerk.
Yeah.
And then he's playing a jerk, and it's like, this is just, he's almost typecasted for this one.
Yeah. Then there's this
Well, isn't that the point
then there's
though?
this
with
bald-
these
It really
movies?
is.
Yeah.
this bald woman in a blue robe behind him, just being very ominous.
I mean,
It's like,
dude, she's totally the bad. Like,
oh
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you're a bad guy. It's pretty
You kinda-
fucking obvious.
The eyeliner's a dead giveaway.
Looking a little emo there.
plus
little.
being bald is kind of like a shorthand for evil, like in movies.
Yeah.
Like Lex Luthor, like evil.
Yeah, that's
James
fair.
Bond,
Yes.
Austin Powers.
I going into the characters a little bit. Michelle Rodriguez, I thought she was a little dull in the movie.
Okay, so that's.
I know it's the character though.
No, but that's the thing. It's a class trope.
Yes.
I
Because-
break things. Like it's
Well,
like
no,
Wrecker from
Yeah,
Bad
but the
Batch.
thing is like when you're playing each class, like you want your stats to go into your class stats.
Yeah.
It's like when you're playing a bard, you want your charisma to be super high, so that way you can talk out of yourself out of
Yes.
situations or talk yourself into a room. But when you're a fighter or barbarian, you want your strength and your constitution. You want to be just big,
Yeah.
durable, and just able to punch and throw things.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't care about your intelligence when you're a fighter or a barbarian. Like
You're right.
you're just
'Cause I'm playing one right now.
yeah.
So
You don't care about that. You're just like, cool. I have an intelligence of 4. I can't read or write, but I can punch that guy real hard. And I like that they leaned into
Yeah.
the stereotypes a little bit, because it's just like not super hard, because like the character does have some good ideas at some point, or at least guide everyone onto a good idea.
I like her whole bit with when when they're getting kind of escorted away.
Yes.
You have the kind of the generic but like it makes sense in this movie. Like they did it in Rogue One, where like Jyn Erso beats the shit out of everybody, and then Cassian's just like, "Oh, you're a woman. I didn't know you could do that."
Yeah.
They do that in this one. But it's funny because Chris Pine's like, "Oh, I almost got it." He's trying to get his
almost there.
almost there. Oh, we're gonna get you now.
Where'd you get that axe?
The best part is halfway through that scene, my wife leans over to me because he's like running the rope against like a piece of stone, and she's like, "There are so many swords on the ground." And then it just cuts to the next scene, and he has a sword between his knees, and he's going with it. And she's like, "Finally!"
Makes sense.
And I'm like, "It's not going to help. This is like."
Yeah. And not to discount the fighting, the choreography and the cinematography.
Really well done.
It felt a little like a John Wick movie, if I'm being honest. Like
okay, not that good.
Whipping around, wide shots though, and they're
The
going.
camera's going all around. It's very fluid.
They're making the like. I remember she did like a back, or she flipped a guy over, and I thought that was because he came right in front of the camera, and then like you saw his like shield like pop up for a second. It was kind of cool.
I will say the fight choreography almost felt. I'm going to say Spider-Man-esque.
Oh
just because of like how fluid it was, and like with Spider-Man being such a fluid character, so when he fights and he's moving, everything has to be fluid because if you just do jump cuts, it's going to look terrible.
Yeah.
So with this, they very much took that sort of
Liam Neeson
energy, and they were just like, "All right, cool. She's going to cartwheel this guy. She's going to fireman carry this guy into a roll.
Yeah.
And like kick the next guy unconscious. Like it was just so smooth, and it was like,
yeah."
This is what I want.
Yeah, because like, and when you're playing the game, you obviously can't. Yeah, it's just your imagination.
Yeah,
you can't.
And that's what you're imagining.
Yeah,
that's what you're imagining, and that's what you're thinking of. But like the guy next to you is just like, oh yeah, punches the guy in the face. All right, cool. But my fireball spell. Like, the only thing that didn't happen that myself and a corner of the internet wanted when this movie was announced.
Yeah.
The NPC character coming back.
No, was to have one of the main characters die halfway through the movie, just to have the same actor play a different character.
Yeah.
Just because, like, when you're playing at a table and your character dies, like, it's not like you walk away from the group. No, you re-roll a character and keep playing with your friends.
Yep.
So it would have just been so nice to see, like, one of them just early be like, dead.
Yeah.
And just like, there's the actor. He could even play in the same class.
Perfect character to do that.
Slightly different name. Just to like,
it would have. Yeah, it would have been like, oh, this was Zank, and then this is I don't know,
something that rhymes with it, which is when they were doing all the dead guys.
This is Zank and Hank.
Yeah, it's like oh, you want Tomlin. I'm Valen.
Yeah.
Simon, the not so confident wizard.
Yeah.
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer.
Which I think this is just a Justice Smith kind of thing. He just plays these types of characters. Like I'm pretty sure he's getting typecast because he's like neurotic. Like, oh, I can't do that. I suck. And he's like, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Which that sounds like a trope in D&D anyway, though.
Yeah.
Like
that's the thing. They very much pointed out that he's a wild magic sorcerer, and sorcerers are charisma casters. So normally they're very much flamboyant.
They know what they're doing.
They're in your face, and they'll talk their way in just like a bard would. But you have a guy whose main skill is charisma, and he is no confidence at all.
Yep.
Thank you.
I tried asking you out once, but you didn't.
Yeah.
But I made you sad.
I wanted you for a little while.
Oh God.
Yeah, but he seems like he has the clearest arc, obviously, because he's like he has to overcome his weakness, and then especially getting talk shit about from his great grandfather or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But it is him. It's funny.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're introduced to Simon, and then quickly after Doric.
Doric.
She's the other.
Oh, the
half
okay.
elf. Yeah.
I didn't get anybody's name.
What? Tiefling. Jeez.
She has a tail
Yeah.
I didn't notice
and
that.
the horns.
Yeah.
I noticed the horns. That's why.
So the tail wasn't really shown that much because it was. She didn't really like being a tiefling.
Yeah.
Because most tieflings are half demon, so people kind of ostracise them. So like a lot of tieflings will hide their tail or try to hide their horns and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the tail is only like pointed out once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kept seeing it in like the peripheral.
Yeah, and you had to I had to look for it because I'm like, wait, it's still. Oh, it is still there. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they all have this idea to sneak her into the castle to. What was the object of that again? To just listen in on.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure out the villain's
Forge
plan and stuff.
Oh, and the Red Queen, I think. Just try to listen in on her and see what she's all about. Yeah.
Well, they're trying to figure out where the where like the tablet thing is, right? Where they're hiding that, right?
Yes.
The thing I was worried about is like about this whole movie is this is like in order to have such a versatile player choose what happens, you kind of have to make a generic story. That's what I was worried about with this movie. Like, can it work? but I'm glad to say that they did it
Yeah.
just above average,
yeah.
from in my opinion.
I agree.
But that sequence where she's spying on everybody, and then she sees him, and it's kind of like a she went for it, like that actor.
But that whole
like one shot thing where she's
So
turning
cool.
the 7 different animals, going all around, and and it just, when you thought it was over, it restarted
going.
again. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of cool, because they were able to kind of make it flow, ebb and flow.
I think that was the coolest scene of the movie.
Yeah.
That was definitely like ingenuity at its finest, I guess.
Yeah, because the wild shape it's something that always pulls people towards it. Wait, I can be animals? I can be animals?
I like that there wasn't really a shortage of animals either. It was like, should be everything.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about this movie. This movie had pretty good CGI for what it was. Yes, some of it was campy, but it also worked for the movie. So like it didn't take away from anything. And then also the practical work, as we're about to talk about with the dead guys. So well done. Like, well puppeted, so cool. Anyway, so the dead guys.
Is that a question? Yes.
Yes. Actually, no. I think we meet Zenk first, but I mean, whatever. We'll get back to Zenk in a second. But let's just talk about the dead guys.
Did you answer? No, I didn't.
And then they went to the 3 other dudes before they finally got their answer.
And that was the thing. Like that if they were going to release a scene for a trailer, that was the scene to release.
Yes.
Because that is the most D&D moment I have ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Next to somebody struggling to open a door. That's the only other thing that I could think of would be more D&D is just door's locked. Pick
Shit.
it. Lockpick's broken. Crap.
I try to kick it in.
Spell.
Try to kick it in.
Doesn't work. Kick it in. Ball's back. Come on. And then
That
someone
one.
just and then just someone just pulls
pull
it. No, someone opens it from the other side. Like, what are you doing?
I heard a loud noise.
But like, just you have 5 questions. Cool. You ask the important one and then mess it up 4 times.
Perfect.
Flawless.
Yeah, I just love it. It's
And then the fact they figured it out for other dead guys, and then they're like, crap, that was only 4 questions. What's your favorite book?
I could read.
I can't just pick one.
Yeah.
And then they just leave him.
Which is a perfect end credit scene.
It was.
That set it up. Yeah, but so they go. What do they do next?
Let's go back to Zen, because I think he was right before that scene.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of his backstory, and he just kind of shows up like, I'm a badass.
He's an old motherfucker too.
Yeah.
He's been around for a long time.
So it was something that I felt like, because it's very much that NPC a DM would introduce that's super high level.
yeah.
That knows stuff, can help the party out, but also doesn't participate in the plot.
Yeah.
Because if he were to participate in the plot's ruined.
I was confused. I'm like, that's not normal
was
for him just
thinking
to leave
he
in the middle of the
is-
movie.
Medieval Drax.
Yes. He is
I got more of a definitely between Chris Pine and Zenk. I don't know the actor's name, but I totally got a. Like,
John Page.
I'm not gonna remember.
No.
He between it was like Thor meeting Peter Quill. He's like,
Yeah.
Did you just lower your voice? No, I did not. He's trying to copy me.
I saw a lot of people comparing this movie to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's like, I can see that.
was such
There's
a-
for the
yeah.
humor for sure.
It's like when he left, he's like, he's gonna walk in a straight line. Oh, there's a rock coming up. Oh, and okay, he just goes right over it.
right over.
But that's the thing. When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, there's a bunch of D&D players who are like, no, this sums up D&D. And now that we have a movie that sums up D&D, it's like, no. D&D sums up D&D. Like,
Yep. So
They obviously get a side quest because they're like, oh, maybe we can do this. But it wouldn't work unless we have this.
And while they were going that way, Holga goes back to her ex's house, which just happened to be Bradley fucking Cooper.
I thought that was fucking awesome.
How did they pull that off? Like, that wasn't spoiled anywhere. That was hilarious.
and also the fact that he was a halfling,
Yeah.
which
it was so weird.
D&D got into a little bit of trouble originally with
Yeah.
Tolkien
Okay.
because
Oh, like dwarves and stuff?
I don't know for hobbits.
Oh, well, yeah, he is kind of a hobbit.
Well, no, that's the thing. D&D originally copied, like D&D 1, copied Tolkien races, and then like there's basically someone in the it's like no, you can't do it. And they're like halfling, same thing.
That's what he's called.
He's just half the size of a normal person.
Well, what are the hobbits called in Rings of Power? Because I think they wanted to call them something else to differentiate. Because apparently they're not alive in the Second Age or something, right?
I don't remember.
Oh, Harfoots. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole pile of research. I don't want to dive down right now.
All right, taking a break because I got a trivia fact here. So you know how what's her face?
Rodriguez.
Torek. What's her name?
Torek.
Doric. So Doric, her character, her like thing she likes to transform into the most is the owlbear.
Yes.
So
Such a cool creature.
it was
It's a staple.
Yeah.
It's a D&D 1 creature.
according to D&D, a druid cannot turn into an owlbear.
Yes, because it is a monstrosity,
Yes.
not a creature.
Yes.
And the wild shaped druid can turn into any creature druids can turn into creatures according to their level. But it's specifically creatures.
Oh, do we know any of their levels?
No.
Okay.
This is the thing is like they
assume.
basically took the big class feature from each class and just shoved it into the characters. Like with a druid, you can only wild shape twice a day.
Yeah.
Oh, so they just kind of got rid of
but they're
that.
just like, but they're just like, you know what? She needs to be able to wild shape because it's cool.
Yeah.
No, just give her wild shape. That's her main skill. Because it's
Yeah.
easier to explain than you can wild shape twice a day after every long rest. And like,
Yeah.
Yes. So can you go more into that, or not really, like the owlbear thing, or is that really
What,
just
for the-
it?
Did they just
no, for the owlbear thing, it's a classification of the
Yeah.
owlbear is a classification of a monstrosity
Yeah.
versus a creature. So instead of naturally occurring in nature, it was created.
That's kind of a
it's an
disappointment.
abomination, a monstrosity. Yeah.
But
Okay.
D&D today or yesterday, actually, like Wizards of the Coast, finally, now that the movie's out, approached that, because that was the number one complaint when the trailer dropped was, druids can't turn into an owl bear. And it's just like, all right, rules lawyers, the number one rule in D&D is as long as it's fun, you can do it. So shut up.
Seriously. Oh my God. So let's go to the next part. So they all go down to this like tunnel cave. This is-
Yeah,
I like the whole
on-
bit where it's like it's a floating or it's like a hanging city, right?
No, that
Or
was, yes.
when they're in the volcano thing, or
Yeah, it's the Underdark, so it's just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was
They
really
said
cool.
the entrance
is.
was like an asshole, basically.
yeah.
That's what they described it as.
Yeah, the Underdark's got some weird stuff in there.
Yeah.
You want to see Cthulhu?
Oh,
That's where you go.
kinda actually. But yeah, so they end up trying to cross this bridge, and Justice Smith fucks it up, and the bridge
Hold on,
collapses.
hang on. Before that, you
But-
saw the.
Oh.
Just before that, I cannot remember what the name of them are, but they're the brains with legs.
Oh yeah.
They're intelligence devourers, and it was one of my favorite little lines. And
That's a
it's
little
like,
insulting.
The three of them walk by, and the whole party's just like standing there. It's like, oh,
Oh man.
like I didn't want my brain eaten, but like at least sniff me. Like, come on.
Give me something, man. Then he finds out the staff that they've had the whole time is a
Yeah.
portal staff.
Like, oh.
I immediately lean over to my wife and go, portal gun? Like, they have a portal gun? I want a portal gun.
Yeah, well that becomes a very big part of the like how they do the final plan and stuff.
Yes. Before we get to that though, got the pudgy dragon. The big pudgy fucking dragon.
Yeah, I thought
That was
that was
hilarious.
No.
Is there any reason for that? Like
No, I mean,
Apparently it's like
I thought it was the dragon that they showed in the flashback, right? Is it okay?
that's what it's kind of been. I think that was what it was hinted at. But
what was he like spewing? Was it like hot tar?
no, it was combustible gas. So they kind of went with the how to train your dragon like logic.
No, in the flashback, I meant.
Oh,
it was like this
yeah.
black shit. It was like sludgy though.
Yeah, but it was still flammable because you saw in the background him spitting fire as well.
Yeah, well, when he does like the little finger thing.
Yeah.
Like perfect.
But no, yeah, they very much went with the how to train your dragon logic on how dragons breathe fire. They emit gas and then they have a sparker in the back of their throat.
Ah,
which was kind of cool to see.
It's kind of, I did notice that. Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I didn't really know that was part of how to train your dragon, though.
It was just one of the things that they brought up that like I was like, oh, that makes sense on how dragons breathe fire because like
Yeah, they're just a living lighter.
yeah, they're not just sitting there like with a literal fire in their belly, just blah.
Yeah,
I've actually never seen How to Train Your Dragon.
really?
It's a fun watch.
them, yeah,
It's a fun watch. Definitely should take a weekend.
I haven't seen the third one. The second one I fell asleep through, and I just didn't finish it.
The first one's great though.
When they started singing with the mom shows up and they start, I'm just like, I'm out. Yeah, but apparently it's better. I don't know. First one's great though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But no, I have been searching and I found a plush of that pudgy dragon.
you did.
And I'm hoping to find like eventually down the road like a realistic statue of said pudgy dragon because
That'd be cool.
it was adorable.
Yeah. Well, I like when he slides out of his cave. He's like, "Yee!"
Just watching him waddle
like
in the most
swallowing
menacing way
everybody.
possible.
It's a menacing water.
Bro, you're
out
not.
there.
I'm like, oh, buddy.
He's trying his best, okay?
Like there was like that big dramatic moment as like, you know, chains are snapping and all this other stuff. Like the whole thing is tipping. And my wife turns to me and she's like, oh no, the dragon can't die. And I'm like, I know, we're invested now.
Yeah.
Like, he's cute.
Pudgy.
Anyway, so Final Battle. Let's actually get to that now.
Yeah.
So
I thought it went on a long time.
it did. It definitely went on a long time, but like it was really cool because like in that arena scene that they had, Tom Morello makes an appearance in there. I didn't notice it, but like apparently he's there.
Like
The
guitarist for Rage Against the Machine.
Yes,
is-
Tom Morello is in there.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they got some interesting cameos in there.
So the other thing was
Yeah.
the other party that was in the cage.
I thought that was a cool inclusion.
Yeah, that's like the D&D TV show
Yes, I heard.
party.
Yes.
Oh.
Like the TV show from like the 80s, 90s. It's that party.
It's hilarious.
Like
They got
I'm sitting
fucked
there and
up,
I'm like, I saw him in the distance. I'm like, no. I mean, they would include them, but no. And then they're all in the cage. I'm like, oh my God, that's them. Like, that's great.
it's really cool.
Also, like that whole arena scene is where we had like, there was a displacer beast, which are just cool.
Yeah, that's the thing with the
And-
cactus things on it,
yeah.
right? It's a projector.
And that's also where we saw two other iconic D&D creatures of the gelatinous cube
Yep.
and the mimic,
The mimic.
the chest.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, with the tongue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So the thing with mimics is they'll turn into anything. So like I was really hoping that we'd see another one, like just like a smaller one, like when they were getting their gear. Just like, oh look my
Like, oh.
That would have been funny.
I really like the, what would you call it, the cube thing? The
gelatinous cube.
I love that. That was
Yeah.
really cool. But like, what makes it is? Why is it burning? It's like it's very much like the blob from
so it's
Yeah.
from the horror movie.
it's acid jello.
Okay,
That it's sentient acid jello.
nice.
It has like an intelligence of like 2 or something. So like it can move and it can be like, ooh, food, but like that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just dissolves anything that it
So
gets stuck in it.
I thought it was really cool how they got around that whole thing.
Yeah.
Where like they like everybody get in. They're like, you're fucking crazy. And,
Yeah.
and he just pokes his finger out a little bit. So that was really cool.
Yeah, no,
Or-
I was like, that's one of those crazy D&D moments where you're like, I got an idea. It's dumb.
Oh yeah.
And the whole party's like, I don't have a better one, so let's do it.
Yeah, that's
I've only played D&D like officially once.
Yeah.
And my crazy idea was to make a fairy commit suicide
no joke. That's what it was.
because he chopped off the fairy's leg, and then so I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I was like, oh, I make it look because I was a sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
I made it look like her leg was back, and then it made it disappear again, and then like she got so depressed that she killed herself, and it worked.
I was
I
like,
mean,
how?
I mean, I was DMing
You're also
for
very drunk.
him and I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But like I was DMing for like him, for Dan, my wife, and another friend of ours. And I had like a 2-session area planned out. And they're just like, we sneak in, we steal the thing, we leave. And I'm like,
Okay,
Yeah, we
come on,
fuck, I worked hard on this,
Yeah,
man.
we-
Like,
it was 2 hours.
we did that real quick,
5 minutes. But like
real quick.
But like that's But like that's what I mean. Like the whole movie felt like that. It's just like during the final battle, Red Wizard casts animate object.
Yes.
Turns that statue into a real dragon.
That was cool.
And you watch Chris Pine make his save of not getting trampled by, Ole, bullfighting, but he fails the dex check and immediately gets caught by the rope and dragged along.
Shit.
Like, you can just see the natural 20s, the natural ones, and none of them are announced, but it feels that way. And it's just like, you can see where their epic fails or even their mid rolls where there's just like,
it kind of worked.
I hope this works.
Yeah, see, I want to watch it again just to see all that stuff because I wasn't paying attention. I was just watching the movie as a movie this time around.
I'm trying not to plug other things, but Critical Role got their parts of their campaign 1 animated with Legend of Vox Machina, and they kept all of the natural ones and the natural 20s because those are the super highs and the super lows from the stream into the animated series.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the D&D movie did is they basically took, like, this has got to be we got to put like natural 20 moments in, natural 1 moments in where character just fails.
Yeah.
Just absolutely, like, Chris Pine cannot cut that rope. No matter what he does, he can't cut that rope.
I was coming for you.
Meanwhile, the barbarian's just like, boink.
Yeah.
Like, natural 20 versus a natural 1.
Yeah.
Natural 1 can't cut it to save their life. And by the time the whole fight's over, I got it, guys. I'm good. Where were you? You couldn't even like trip a guy.
Yep. So I liked their whole plan where they were like, they used the portal gun again, and they still they got rid of the treasure and like gave it to the people like they were supposed to.
They hit everything on a technicality, and I love it.
Yep. Because I think earlier in the movie they're like, oh, you must give it back to the people of
it's like I'll give all the gold back to the.
Yeah, I swear on my life I'll do it. He actually did it.
Yeah.
So
it's not like he was like, here's your gold.
Yep.
Here's your gold. It was just, all right, public, have fun.
Technically.
It was what?
No, I think.
Oh yeah.
Raining. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was very satisfying seeing the Red Witch get fucking just yeeted.
Also, the gold thing.
Yeah.
Me and my wife were laughing through it because we're like, that's gold.
Yeah, it's gonna kill someone.
That's dense. It's a soft metal, but like it's still like a very dense metal. It's heavy.
Yep.
And you're dropping that from a hot air balloon, clearly at least 10 or 12 stories up.
I love how they did it with
It's like dropping a penny off the Empire State Building type of thing. Yeah.
But now instead of copper, you're doing it with something heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, but it's not just coins. It's also like goblets and trophies and like bigger things made out of gold.
Even if you catch that, it's gonna hurt like a bitch.
Yeah. No, I just wanted one person in the background just to be like, I got it. Boom.
Shit.
No death, but like catch it and just have it immediately knock them on their face.
Yeah, well, Red Witch gets her ass kicked. But how did she get her ass kicked again? Because I don't remember.
The daughter has like she hides herself.
Yeah,
she has like an emerald or whatever.
The wrist, the bracelet.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Right.
Yeah, puts the blocker thing on her.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Okay.
And then doesn't she get eaten by the?
She did not get eaten by the owl bear. She just gets
fucked up by
fucked up with it.
it.
manhandled.
Yeah,
Just
that was fun.
and
How does she actually die? I forget.
They didn't.
the thing falls on her, doesn't it? Like
the part of the building
the
does.
part
She
of the
gets
building?
tucked into a building.
Okay.
Like a statue falls on her, or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, so then we find out Holga has been stabbed by the Red Witch.
Yep.
Which basically means death, which was alluded to in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And this is where Chris Pine's character, Ed, I'll just call him Ed, has that realization. He's like, and his daughter's like, I need her. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And he can only use that tablet once.
I could see it coming a mile away.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
it was very...
I was like when they introduced like the tablet, like, okay, so somebody's gonna die, and then they're gonna bring him back with that. Okay,
And I mean that's the thing with D&D. This story is not always.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's no really good Shyamalan plot twist.
No. Yeah.
But But it's just like, oh yeah, I saw it coming a mile away. But it's the whole getting from the terrible point A to the terrible point B, where you're like, that's the fun part.
It's about the adventure. Yeah, about getting there.
But also that fight scene is where I was like, oh my gosh, look at all the spells.
Yeah.
The arm wrestling match took me the longest to figure out what spell that is. But the only thing I can really guess is Bigby's hand, which is just a giant magic hand. And it's unique to the caster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's why we're watching two very different ones duke it out, because we're like, is that a necrotic touch, or is is it this? Is it that? What could it be? And it's like, oh nope, he's not melting, so it can't be necrotic. No. But he did get thrown, and that's where the damage is probably going to be. So big bees.
Yeah.
Fireballs, all of it. Just
so most of it, or all of it is just
a lot of really popular spells were being kind of
cool
shoved in there, and I'm like, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, and Hugh Grant gets arrested, and he's in the prison now.
Yes.
Yeah, forgot about that. He tries to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah. They repair the wall. They even have curtains blocking it.
Just drags that guy.
Not Jonathan again.
Drags that guy straight into the concrete.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's the
end.
I love it when media goes full circle.
Yeah. This movie had a lot of nice full circle moments, and
it's very tightly tied with a bow.
Yes.
Yeah,
really,
no.
It's
really wrapped
little
up.
Tiny box.
It wrapped up some things very nicely. It left the door open for more stuff in the future, and I hope there is a sequel to this.
What I hope they do though for the sequel, because they're probably going to be one. I heard this is a decently successful movie.
I am sure they will.
I want it to be a completely different party.
As I said last night, I would love all the actors to come back,
show up as different characters,
but all of the actors are the same, but none of the characters are the same.
Yeah.
So
like a Jumanji kind of thing.
So an American Horror Story thing.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, it's the same player sitting down at the table for a different story, different character.
Pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
But it's still gonna be Chris Pine play, and it's like. I was like, well, Chris Pine can't be like the brawler. I'm like, he can still be the talker. He's just a different
Could be the villain too.
Yeah, he could be the villain for that one.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
They could show all their acting chops too, like in different roles, which would be very cool. Yeah.
I would really like that.
Yeah.
But this movie, though, overall, I think it's very true to the spirit of D&D.
It is.
Yes.
That being said, though, as a movie, though, back to what I was saying before, like, can they do it? Can they do like a really interesting story? It's a little generic, So, and I get that in some ways that's the point.
Yes.
I'm not going to go back and rewatch this one. I don't think.
The thing is also like, I'm pretty sure this movie was based off of one of the modulars.
Okay.
So, it's not really where D&D gets really dumb fun for me anyway. Is the homebrew. Mm-hmm. The stuff that's not pre-written for you.
Yeah.
Is the stuff where you're like, all right, I like, this form of media and this form of media. Let's just smash them together and see what the players do.
Yeah.
Like those are the things where I like to have it. So like, you're not going to have the super crazy plot twist because it's just Wizards of the Coast trying to pump out a bunch of these modulars so that way they can just have a whole variety of things for people to buy and play.
Yeah. It's just to start out on until you really know what you're doing.
Yeah. Or unless you just really like the modulars.
Yeah.
Because some people like to do rapid fire ones where they're just, all right, we're busting through Waterdeep. Cool. We're busting through this. We're busting through Curse of Strahd. Like
that's what Sep did when she had like a campaign going on through Discord.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we're already this far into the whatever. I don't know. But yeah, she's like, yeah, we did that one last week and we did this one. So I'm like, oh wow, you're really going through all of them.
And then meanwhile, when you look at stuff like Dimension 20 or Critical Role, they're going for months.
Oh yeah,
and
for
weeks on the same story, and you don't know when it's going to end because it all depends on when the players get to the end goal that the GM has set up.
Cool.
But as you're saying, you probably wouldn't come back to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much a kind of a disposable. That sounds like a little insulting, but it's a really good movie.
Very insulting.
But this is just a story that like I've seen a lot. In different ways. It's Avatar 2. Yeah. But it's funnier. It's like more charismatic.
Yes.
Than, so like I like this movie a lot more than the cash grab that is Avatar Way of Water.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back to this
so
one.
what
I
do you
don't think though. I give it a 78.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good.
It's around where I was thinking. I was originally going to say an 82, but I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep it in an 82. I think it's got, it's definitely has rewatchability, but you got to be like, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's fine. So
I think the more movies that they make with this kind of vibe, the more value it would add to this one.
I agree. It's fun. It's quirky, and it's definitely true to D&D as a game.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best D&D movie that's been made. And there's not much competition, but it's
also a lot of more smaller budget.
Yeah.
Randomly made throughout the history of D&D and
yeah. Like, what do we? Also, I think it would work way better as a TV show, because like that's what Critical Role does.
Yeah. I'm sure they could make a spin-off series on it if they needed
But the thing is, you have to remember, Critical Role is is a long form, much longer form. Like
it's like 4 hours.
It's 4 hours an episode released weekly.
Yeah.
Like it's
rough.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like I am 10 hours behind right now. Like that's a whole day of me just sitting there listening to the same 7 people debate
it's
about
like,
what they should do before they even roll a dice.
Yeah.
What are you, Pat? What are you going to give this?
I mean, I'm ranking this a little bit higher than you guys. Definitely like in the 85, 90 out of 100, because like it does have rewatchability for me. But it's not going to be my Princess Bride or A Knight's Tale, where I have like something truly tied to it that keeps bringing me back. But this is definitely one of those things where it's like, you know what? Yeah, it's on TV. Or I haven't watched it
if
in a
it's
little
on,
while.
I'm not going to turn it off.
Yeah. I'm never going to turn this movie off if I see it on TV. But also, like, if someone brings it up and it's been a hot second,
like, oh yeah,
I'm going to
the
go
D&D
home
movie.
and watch it. Like, it's going to be like, oh yeah.
Like, as I said, I want to go back and actually try to figure out what their stats are and everything, and see where the nat 20s and the nat 1s are. That's what I would go back for.
That's something I really think they could incorporate in the next one.
Yes.
More scenes like the kind of like the little frustrations you have with like you said, opening the door and shit with the grave guys. Like more scenes like that, and I think including some sort of like ranking system. Yeah. Even if like it's like kind of like alluded to a little bit, I think that would work a lot better, because it's like, oh, like this is really that universe, you know?
Yeah.
But really solid opening or first entry, because I assume there's going to be more. So
yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're Seen It Before. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with the handle @SeenItBeforecast. That's SCENE it Beforecast, and on Twitter with the handle SIB_pod. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me at Danny_Was on Instagram. My letterbox and serialized at DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was.
Pat,
Hey.
anything?
I'm normally a ghost, but you know what? Since I've nailed down the gamer tag for everything, if you want to randomly find me on the internet playing video games, which is what I'm doing when I'm not doing other nerd crap, is just buy as First Order. So have fun spelling that, because I can always.
You're gonna have to tell me how to write that.
I'll write it down.
It's gonna be your CG, but
yeah. All right. Well, as we said at the beginning, this is our season finale, season 5. We'll be back in a few weeks for the start of season 6 with which movie? Oh yeah, with Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, get the chainsaw.
That's where we're gonna be.
I'm not
starting.
No, not my kind of movie.
I'm all for the blood and the gore, and the new set we're going to be having that we're going to be putting together in the next week or so. So
yeah, it'll look a little.
It's gonna look a little different, and it's gonna look a lot cooler. So we hope you rejoin us for season 6. But for now, we'll see you next time.
Stay cool.